Who do you have as the ladies' female fighter of the year? I'll start with you, Dylan.
It was hard for me up until I listened to Words with a Mad Coach, and I found out what his pick for the show was going to be. That took a lot of pressure off me once again. As far as the amateurs go, it was, there's not a ton of women who are competing right now from the North Carolina, South Carolina area, but there is one woman above all women who I think is having such a big impact, not only on the people she competes with, but the people she competes in front of, the people that see her for the first time, the people who follow her. And as far as like a cross-sport athlete, this hands down, Willow Liles. Two-time world champion now, powerlifting champion, had a super active year in terms of fighting. It seems strange to give it to a youth fighter, I know, but when I talk about like who's representing the Carolinas to the best of their abilities, how could I not at least mention her? Leilani is about as active as it gets. She was obviously extremely successful this year, and was able to finish. And if she had not been picked on Seth's show, I'd be making a very different point right now. But, now that I know Leilani has been picked by another judge, I can say safely that Willow, I think every time I see Willow compete in front of other people, they're inspired.
And I think she's racking up more sky miles than I am at this point, going over to all these places. So
yeah. I mean, her dad is the man. Like, Willie, I say it every time I can because, the parents, sometimes when you're dealing with sports and you're people who are very successful in sports, and I certainly was a sports kid growing up, so I saw a lot of mat dads and a lot of, 50-yard line dads and stuff. And Willie's, he's just enabling Willow to do what she wants. He has no desire basically to be in front of the camera or to be part of it or to be like in the way. He's just, supporting her. And so to have a parent be so supportive of an athlete like that, and you see what she's able to accomplish with that little bit of support. Hopefully it inspires some other parents and other teams to like get behind a youth fighter and just see what can happen. You never know. A youth fighter has a couple of point fights. Next thing you know, you're in Greece fighting for a championship. So
yeah, that's awesome.
Hey, Chaz,
yes,
piggybacking on what Dylan was saying about women not being a big category, your choices are limited. So female pro, I went with Sasha Sullivan. I was there her last fight. I thought she won that fight, but she just didn't get the nod. But she looked good, and she'll be fighting soon in a couple of weeks, and I hope she next weekend, matter of fact, and I hope she can make the little adjustments. So she's my pro as far as the women goes, but my female champ is Leilani Hodgins-Pike. She's fought mainly outside of the state, but you can find a few of those fights on YouTube, and she is a champion. She is a finisher. So she's looked good. I would just love to see her in a fight for it local show, because if I have to go fight for it, women who have really shown out this year, I like Moriella Trinidad, from Carolina Combat Sports.
The only reason she's not been more successful is because they haven't been able to find her more fights. Like I think that's the only thing holding her back. Right. I didn't mention my pro. I forgot all about that. I'm going to bring it up right now. Speaking of, to continue off of what you're saying about women who have not fought on Fight For It, that I'd love to see on Fight For It, but also a woman who I think has just like not gotten the credit locally, maybe in her hometown, I think she has, or her like local scene. But as far as North Carolina, South Carolina as a whole, I don't think we've recognized her. So my pro fighter of the year, and certainly my champion of the year, is Anna Toole out of Charleston, Muay Thai. She has become the Warriors Cup champion up in New York, and she has beaten some girls with some insane credentials in Muay Thai. And that Charleston Muay Thai team has been, a little, kind of back and forth with other athletes as other sports, like are they doing MMA, are they not? Conflict MMA is always kind of like their home-based show, but now it's becoming more of this Warriors Cup show. From what I'm seeing, they're having more and more girls especially fight on there. And the two fights that I saw in Warriors Cup this year from Anna Toole were extremely, extremely impressive. And the people she's beaten, high level kickboxer. I'm not super well versed on Muay Thai, so I won't talk out of my ass in that regard, but I'll just say that, I've watched a lot of striking, a lot of Muay Thai, and there's very few women in the East Coast area, United States area, that are as good as Anna Toole, who's still a teacher full time. And a multi-time world champion now in kickboxing. So, and multi-time world champion in Muay Thai. Sorry.
Don't get out of line in class. All right, guys, it's now time for the big one. It's like the best picture at the Oscars, baby. It's like the album of the year at the Grammys.
Way more hate comments, though.
Yeah. If we're going to get some comments, going to come out of this one. Who do we have, or who do you guys have? Because I'm not going to include myself in this thing, so I don't want the letters.
Smart.
Who do we have for Team of the Year? And Coach Sess, lead us off, baby.
Hey, CCS, baby, Carolina Combat Sports and Fitness. Favorite coach of the year has to be Tom Ziegler. I already told you Shamik Harvey was my favorite fighter of the year coming out of that camp. Dylan's already mentioned Willow Liles, Jonathan Martin. I mean, they picked up championships. They fought. They've been on UFC Fight Pass. Motsinger. I mean, what more can you say about that team? You know, I think the performance that Brian Battles had in the UFC, especially with that Paris card and his mic skills. You know, everybody else is just a distant second this year for me. You know.
Gotcha, Mr. Dillon.
Yeah, so the Team of the Year is tough because when you do the Fighter of the Year, you're only pissing off the select few people who have the ego big enough to think they're the Fighter of the Year. Whereas when you do the Team of the Year, you're going to piss off multiple gyms full of the baddest people walking the Carolinas, right? So it's tough. CCS was definitely my Team of the Year as well. I think the thing that kind of made it a little bit more competitive in my mind was there were some weight, kind of mishaps over the year, just little things over the course of the year as far as the amateur fighters go, and some just little slip-ups here and there. But when you talk about the batting average, when you talk about how many times Tommy Z steps up to the plate, he's going to strike out a couple times, but he's going to knock it over the fence more times than not. And especially with the debuts, you talk about people who come into their first fight looking like they've got 5 fights. Most people who come out of that gym do. But the gym that had the biggest come up for me this year, and certainly I'm talking about teams, when you talk about CCS, them becoming more involved with Fury has been great for the Carolinas as well, because now we got Isaiah Monroe on there. We got grapplers from the local scene getting signed to their grappling show. So Austin, Texas, very far from North Carolina, but there's more and more of our guys getting called up by this random promotion down there we need more people from the Carolinas. You guys are putting on good fights. You guys are putting on good matches. So that's really good for us. But a team that's been doing a lot of traveling this year and a lot of winning is Team Jimmo. In terms of traveling to international games and the Gamma MMA stuff, I can't even name all the athletes right now off the top of my head. I know Saeed Yalami. I know Scary Kerry Miller. I know a lot of the people out there the Muscats, Silas and Gabe, I believe, both did it this year. International competition. Wearing, I was silly to say this. I was watching the movie Cool Runnings last night, and they were talking about how being able to walk into the Olympic Village bearing your nation's flag is like the greatest single honor an athlete can have, even if they don't win a medal. They just, get the chance to represent their country. And I feel like, people representing their country, but also representing, our local fight scene, even if it's a weird rule system that I don't fully comprehend the efficacy of, and the judging's really weird, the fact that storyline is at work, it works on me. It tugs at my heartstrings a little bit to see those guys that I know from local fight nights go across the world and beat up guys from Kazakhstan or whatever the case may be, and win a medal. So, especially acquiring Joe Selecki, that's a huge maneuver by them that could hopefully level the playing field with CCS. But make no mistake about it, CCS is far in the lead. They are lapping the competition currently, but I'm sure that it will not be long now until more teams are catching up. I talk about, I'll probably, no matter how good Coach Cody Malte does, I'll never be able to give the Team of the Year to Elevate, just because of my involvement with them and stuff. But they have so many guys that are approaching that 5 amateur fight number. Now you got Chris Gonzo, one of the most standout pinnacle members of their team for years and years. He's pro now. So we're seeing that more and more of their guys are going to ascend to that level of prodom. And I mean, I think about when I first started training there, how there was only 12 people who trained there total across all the sports. Now they have a fight team that's 25 deep. So if every team is doing what they're doing, we're going to have an amazing fight scene in 2-3 years time.
Yeah.